It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for November 21st, 2022. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today we have Bob on Bob, Violence at Disney, and Star Wars Jedi Survivor is nigh. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host to Game Mess Mornings. It's Mike Minotti. Mike, how are you doing?
Just like Iger, I'm back, bitch.
He's back. Mitch is back, bitch. Here we go. I'm glad to hear you're back. You messaged me pretty late last night and said, "Am I on?" And I said, "Of course," because I had not talked to anybody, just like on normal Sunday.
Yeah,
so.
You know, just how it goes. I was like, I bet I am. By process of elimination, the greatest of all processes.
Yes, exactly. Nature's most powerful force, the process of elimination. Yes. But yeah, I mean, how's your weekend? How'd your weekend go? What have you been up to? I know you were playing Pokemon.
I was playing Pokemans. I was checking out that Scarlet and Violet nonsense, which is somehow like worse than I could have even imagined, but also better. Like the graphical stuff is just as bad as everyone says, and it's like a real bummer and it's distracting, but Pokemon's fun and I like some
exactly.
of these changes.
Right, yeah. So I mean you were enjoying yourself a little bit.
I was enjoying myself. You know what helps it? I think if it wasn't for this, I would actually just not be able to handle it. But the music is very good this time.
Well, that's something.
The soundtrack is fantastic so far. So like that's helping balance the graphical problem. But
let's just play.
Look at that.
I'm gonna play this. There it goes. There's our boy. Oh no. Okay, I'm playing for audio listeners. I'm playing a glitch compilation here. And there's one where you know Weird Mario from Super Mario Maker. The character gets glitched into looking like weird Pokemon Master, Catcher, whatever the hell the character's called, player character.
Pokemon Trainer, I think.
Pokemon Trainer. Ooh, this one just fell through the ground. Falling through the ground doesn't do anything for me anymore. I see that and I feel nothing.
Yeah, you know, whatever. That's more. But look, the bugs are one thing, but it's just how the game normally looks sometimes. Yeah. The amount of pop-in.
What the
like,
hell?
You know that thing. Wait, hell, look, it's Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I have no idea. All right, we're getting out of there before something bad happens to Tom Cruise.
A lot of Switch games do that thing where characters in the background move at the very low frame rate.
Yeah,
which,
right.
Of course, fine. It does this for characters that are like 10 feet away from you sometimes. Or characters that are even like in the foreground. Something's wrong. Something is messed up.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it a little bit, but you know, the thing that happened with Pokemon is pretty clear. Game Freak did not have to make modern games for a very long time. They could keep making older looking handheld games. I mean, they were making Game Boy games long after everyone else was done. They're making 2D games on the 3DS, and they struggled even to like go to polygonal models. When they did that, their tech was behind, and now they have to make HD games. And they are so far behind the curve. They have not had to make HD games, even though we've had these for 15 years now. They are just struggling, and it's clearly they don't have the internal institutional knowledge to be able to make that stuff work. So, yeah. But, I mean, still fun. Still seems fun. I don't know. I keep debating picking it up. It seems like they've made some of the improvements that I would need to get some fun out of it. But, yeah. All right. Let's get into this. But before we do, let's explain what we do here. Each weekday, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, hello, welcome. You can always get the show, you can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on GiantBomb.com. Shout out to the RSS gang out there. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Okay, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Google reportedly paid Activision and Riot millions of dollars to prevent them from opening rival app stores. There's a little bit more to this, but that's where it starts with James Batchelor over at GamesIndustry.biz. Google has reportedly spent hundreds of millions of dollars on deals with leading developers in an effort to dissuade them from launching their own app stores on Android. The revelation comes from a newly unredacted copy of Epic's 2020 lawsuit against Google, reviewed by Reuters. According to the site, the documents show that Google paid Activision Blizzard $360 million over 3 years on one such agreement, with another $30 million paid to Riot Games over 1 year. In total, there were 24 deals highlighted between Google and big-name developers, including Ubisoft, Nintendo, and non-gaming app providers. The deals were part of Project Hug, which has been mentioned but never detailed in previous versions of the lawsuit, and involved payments for posting videos to YouTube as well as credits for Google offerings such as advertising and cloud services. So basically, it's like you'll get bonuses to use Google's platform instead. However, the lawsuit claimed the deals were to block rival app stores. For example, the Activision deal is said to have been made in January 2020, shortly after it told Google it was considering launching its own marketplace on Android. Similarly, the Riot partnership was allegedly designed to stop their in-house app store efforts. Now, since that initial story, which I just read the bulk of there, again, shout out to GamesIndustry.biz, Activision has reached out to say this isn't exactly what you think it is. Activision has disputed the claims made by Epic's lawsuit, with a spokesperson issuing the following statement. Activision testified in court that Google and Activision never entered into an agreement stating that Activision would not open its own app store. Google never asked us, pressured us, nor made us agree to not compete with Google Play, and we submitted documents and testimony to the court that proves this. Epic's allegations are nonsense. I want to say that I'm kind of believing that because $360 million to stay off, to not make your own app store doesn't make any sense. Like that's that's got to be more money than you would lose, I would think, from Activision opening up their own store. I mean, I guess King. I mean, this is January 2020. King was part of that. King is huge,
Sure.
But 300. I just like, okay, that's not even compete. That just doesn't. It's like replacing the money with a big payment. I could see what probably is happening here is, yeah, Google probably is incentivizing these companies to stay on Google Play, but that's just business. That's just one company like Activision go in and say, hey, we were considering our own app store. Can you sweeten the deal for us? That happens all the time. We talk about how Activision gets a little bit of a sweetener from PlayStation for driving so many people to PlayStation Plus. Like they get a little bit more on top of everything else that everyone else gets from selling their stuff on PlayStation Network and PlayStation Store, because they are a big reason a lot of people go to get PlayStation Plus. And Activision's like, well, maybe all that money shouldn't just go to Sony. Maybe we should get a taste. That's probably what is happening here, right?
I guess so. I mean, maybe I'm naive. Is this that much of a controversy if Google said paid Riot $30 million to not open a game store on their...
Yeah, I guess I don't even know. Probably not. I mean, that just feels like business, right? And it also feels like the kind of business where, okay, so I guess it could be a controversy if someone could then prove that because Google did that, these two companies made out, right? Google prevented competition from happening, and Riot got a bunch of money, and Activision got a bunch of money. So they're happy. Now, was there less competition so that prices were higher? And is that how this worked? And I don't know if it goes from like 1 to 1 there. I don't know if I could see that line being drawn necessarily. Mostly because people just use the app store that's in front of them anyhow. And even when Epic tried to run their own with Fortnite, most people didn't want to use that, didn't open it, or didn't download it, install it themselves. And so it just feels like it'd be hard to argue that. But, you know, Epic's been in this situation for years now with these lawsuits where they really want to, lash back out at these companies that have made it hard for them to do the things they want to do on mobile, and they have struggled to prove that stuff in court.
I saw you hit your mic there, Jeff. I don't want you trying to steal my Italian hand gesture consultant job.
Oh,
Obsidian that I'm looking at.
It's the gabagool, and then I punch my microphone. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you leave that to the real Italian.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know what?
I'm gonna
put them behind my back like a good what was it? A wasp, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. There we go. There it goes. Yeah, this could, I guess, be. It feels like a big story, but I think once you look at it, once you hear what Activision has to say, and even if you do just examine it based on the facts that Epic is trying to say this is what's really happened, it doesn't feel like that nasty of a thing. But I don't know. Maybe we're just off base there.
Maybe. I know. Yeah. Apparently, I'm a bit low, and also apparently, I can't get over Project Hug. Really, that name is what's actually distracting me.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun. I mean, that also just feels like such a corporate name, or it feels like when you have an evil law and you give it the nicest sounding name.
Yeah, like it would be like the Austin Powers thing. It's a parody, but
exactly.
Real.
I was listening to a Star Wars audiobook over the weekend, and I had to put it down because the narrator started doing a character's voice, and it sounded exactly like Dr. Evil. And I just thought, I can't handle this. I can't handle this.
That's incredible.
All right, let's move on. Bob Iger to replace Bob Chapek. Is that how I say it? Bob Chapek?
Chapek, I think that's right.
Chapek.
Yeah.
As Disney CEO just months after Chapek got big contract extension. This comes from Eddie McHugh at GameSpot. The Walt Disney Company has undergone a big shakeup as current CEO Bob Chapek is stepping down, effective immediately, with longtime former CEO Bob Iger returning to CEO again. According to the New York Times, Chapek was determined to have done irreparable, or was determined as in like they determined that he did irreparable damage to his ability to lead, with a string of missteps resulting in the loss of confidence of Wall Street and most senior Disney executives, as well as many rank and file employees. The Walt Disney Company has undergone a big shake. Oh, I'm sorry. Now I'm just repeating that again. Let's see. Yeah. So apparently he just fucked up so bad. We got to get Iger back. Is that what happened here, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little surprised that this did still happen. I mean, he's been Bob Chapek. I mean, Bob Chapek's been Bob Chapek since before he became CEO. You know that I'm like a Disney parks freak.
Right.
He used to be in charge of parks and resorts, and he had a reputation as like just being like this money guy, kind of penny pincher then. So he was like unpopular with Disney fans even then. So it was a little weird when he became CEO. Like, yeah, you know, he's a money guy, and of course that makes sense for a big business. With Disney, Jeff, you have to at least be able to fake it a little bit. You have to at least be able to pretend it's all about magic and things like that, right? And Iger can do that. You know, even Eisner was able to do that a bit. There's absolutely no, like, you know, Chapek's the guy who's coming out and talking about how only children watch cartoons or animated movies. And, like, I don't get as mad about that as some people. But you still
did he really do that?
Yeah, he was at that one.
He did the Jim Ryan "these old games look bad" thing.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did that. You know, the constant raising of prices, the Genie Plus thing has been unpopular. You know, the things with the "Don't Say Gay" bill and all these other just missteps. You know, he's a guy who does not have a creative vision, and that's a problem. But they also always knew that, and Iger was part of the process for picking him. So that was the weird thing to me, was when he became CEO. This is still seems like a pretty drastic move to just completely reset the clock, bring back Iger, who stayed on much longer than he was supposed to originally.
Because they Don't Say Gay bill at the time, yeah. That like derailed things, and he's like, well, maybe I should stick around to help like oversee this mess that is happening here.
Well, he stuck around because of the pandemic and a bunch. At first it was, well, we bought Star Wars, so I had to see this through. Then, you know, oh, well, we bought Fox, I had to see this through. Then, oh, the pandemic, so we're going to do, like, this really slow transition to Chapek, which Chapek resented, and there was a lot of friction. You know, there's been a lot of public fighting, basically, between the two of them. But I'm not shocked that as soon as things kind of went bad and, you know, money's not coming in, even parks, I think, didn't do super well in the last quarter, which is, like, the big money maker, and they're, you know, packing it to the brim right now. Pretty easy for them to be like, just get out of here. If Iger wants back, we want him back. I just don't know where you go from here. He's supposed to be back for 2 years. The succession was such a mess last time. I don't know how it's possibly going to go smooth this time with whoever it could be.
Yeah, it seems like a real mess. It seems like a Jay Leno situation a little bit with Iger. You know, we look at the things that are losing money for Disney. Disney Plus is very expensive for them. They apparently lost it's set to lose $4.5 billion or something. Very expensive to make those shows, and you see cuts coming to stuff like that. Video games though seem to be pretty good place for Disney, right? That I don't expect Iger to come in and suddenly the gaming strategy is going to change. It seems like they figured that part out.
I would hope so. Now, Iger was never a big games guy, right? I guess that would be the worry. I don't know if Chapek necessarily was either per se, but that was one of the things that actually did seem to be going in a good direction at Disney, is the game strategy. But yeah, you would imagine that they're going to look at what they're doing there and be pretty happy with that, and hopefully won't see any big changes. But yeah, things like Disney Plus are weird because that actually a giant Iger project, right? So what is the problem there? Was it just mismanagement under Chapek, or was it just not that great of an idea to begin with?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it just feels like they need to accept that Disney Plus is in the acquisition years where the price is low for subscribers and the cost of creating content is high and going to remain high, and it's going to kind of take some time to flip that. But I mean, the thing does have a lot of subscribers, so it seems like it's in a weird place. All right, well, let's move on. A little bit more Disney news. Star Wars Jedi Survivor to be featured at the Game Awards. This comes from Tom Henderson at Insider Gaming. Sources have said that Star Wars Jedi Survivor will be featured at this year's Game Awards, which will be taking place on December 8th. Insider Gaming has learned that the announcement will include a new trailer, release date, and pre-order date. It's believed that the announcement will be made around 30 minutes into the show. According to industry insider Jeff Grubb, Jedi Survivor will be released in March 2023, which matches EA's own release calendar of major IP released in Q4. That was to their investors, and actually I could just bring that up. This is accurate. This is true. This is what I've heard for a couple weeks now, is that they will have a trailer to show at the Game Awards. I didn't know it was going to be 30 minutes into the show. I think that's fun. Tom's getting that kind of information.
Good to know.
That's real cool. But yeah, December 8th, we're going to hear, like, what I've heard is a few weeks ago, people would come into chat and they'd be like, hey, Jeff, what's going on with Star Wars Jedi Survivor? I'm like, you know what? I haven't checked in a while. And a few weeks ago, I asked around. I'm like, hey, well, like, it's still coming out in March, right? Like, I haven't heard anything about a delay. It's weird that we haven't begun the process of hearing more about, like, when, you know, the marketing campaign. And the word I got then is, no, it's just going to start with the Game Awards. This is all exactly what we want. It's going as planned. It's still coming in March. And December 8th, we'll have a trailer at the Game Awards, and then we'll have a very short marketing campaign going into the release before the end of the quarter. So, yeah, I think that all sounds right. And I think it's a good sign for 2023 being a pretty big year, right? Where a big game like that not getting delayed at this point, at least not yet, and be able to, like, all these promises about, like, oh yeah, next year's going to have everything. You know, maybe we will get off to a good start. I don't know. What are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I think me and you were both pretty big fans of Jedi Fallen Order, so I have pretty high hopes for Jedi Survivor. A name, by the way, you revealed on either this show or Grubsnack.
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah,
we actually just had people guess until somebody did. I wonder if they're still here. Good on that guy.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, this makes sense. It's time to get really safe for this. I think there's going to be a few games like that. I've heard some rumblings. This is, you know, me hearing rumblings, not with insider information, that maybe Final Fantasy 16 is going to have a similar thing here where we get another new trailer, this time with a release date. So it's going to be good, I think, to see more about these 23 games that we know about. Just get that really hype trailer, get that release date. Let's get excited. It's like, remember that God of War Ragnarok trailer was like, oh, I'm actually excited for this now. We're going to get a bunch of those, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
I think you're exactly right. Like, that's what we're due for. A lot of games that we do know about that are coming next year that can have a chance to really make a great impression at the Game Awards. They will do that, or at least they'll attempt to do that. And then, you know, we got to get a reload here from Sony and a few other companies. Like, maybe they'll have some stuff at the Game Awards. Maybe they won't. Maybe they're waiting for their own thing. But, you know, there's a potential for this show to be very good, and I really hope it pulls through. All right, Mike, we've gone from Disney. Now it's time to go to your other specialty, wrestling. CM Punk seemingly removed from AEW video game cover. Let's see here. This comes from Video Game Chronicles. CM Punk has seemingly been removed from the cover, following reports that the wrestling firm is looking to part ways with the performer. Punk, whose real name is Phil Brooks, is currently signed to All Elite Wrestling, as he has been since he made his long-awaited return. I think it was just like a year ago, right? A little bit over a year ago at this point.
Yeah, but over a year ago.
Yeah. Punk was also set to be the main cover star of AEW Fight Forever, the video game. Which is still, I don't think we have a release date yet, but it's still coming soon. That no longer seems to be the case. So I have a little thing right there. We go. We just bring this up. So if you see the art here, if you're listening to audio, the former art had CM Punk front and center doing his arm cross thing, being like, I'm straight edge. And then and then all the other wrestlers are behind him. He is no longer anywhere in the art, and instead it's Kenny Omega up front and then MJF right behind him. So yeah, what do you think about this, Mike?
Oh, it's not very surprising. You know, when the whole, the gripe bomb happened, and then the backstage fight with him and the Elite, you know, they did the investigation, and guess who's back? The Elite, and guess who's still nowhere to be seen is CM Punk. You know, some people are like, oh, maybe, you know, they're going to try to find a way to make it work because there's so much money. I think there is certainly a point where too much damage has been done. Now, there's still a part of me that thinks he might be in the game, right? I mean,
yeah,
you can do that.
That happens all the time with wrestling, yeah.
Yeah, like, maybe they're not going to promote it because it's weird, but hey, maybe, yeah, sure, he's in the roster. You can play as CM Punk. We paid money for that, so what the heck? But yeah, I think having him off the cover, not a giant surprise. It also, I wonder if this game has been stealth delayed. They used to say like this year, and then this new trailer and this art you're showing here, and this happened during the pay per view on Saturday. Now it just says coming soon.
Yeah.
So if it's still this year, I feel like we should have a date by now.
Yeah, right. Let's see. Yeah, it just says coming soon here at the end. Yep, you're right. So I'll play this trailer in the back. CM Punk doesn't even show up in this trailer, right? They don't want him around anymore. He was kind of this poison pill that has really sort of spoiled or he's at least taken the shine off of AEW, where I think AEW is still rolling ahead just fine, but it had this luster to it that really came off quick when CM Punk did that had his meltdown. So they don't want him on the cover. They don't want him being something that people ask about, although that's going to be inevitable. And they don't want him out here like doing promotion for this game, right?
Oh, absolutely not. There's no way. I mean, how can you possibly trust him to go in front of the press again?
Yep.
So yeah, there's definitely a moving on period here. Like I said, he might be in this game, but even not promoted. And if he wasn't, also not a giant surprise. Hey, did Baccalar and Dan have fun at the show? They were at the pay-per-view, right?
Yeah, I was on Hive and I saw Dan Riker post an image of Jeff Baccalar sitting in his seat, and right next to him, he was right on the aisle. Right next to him was some random pack of cigarettes and a fully rolled blunt. And no one knew where it came from, but it was sitting right next to him. And apparently everyone that came past him the entire night made a comment to Baccalar about it, which just brings me so much joy. Yeah. There are a few things I love in this world more than a flustered Jeff Baccalar. And he just would, of course, get so flustered by that. And it's good stuff.
I'm just glad it was him with Dan and not you, because Dan would totally just convince you to start smoking those things. And you would agree almost immediately.
Wouldn't take much convincing, I'll tell you that right now. Let's see. Sounds like a good night to me. Threaten me with a good time.
Jeff steps like, not his cigarettes. Sure, Jeff.
All right, let's keep rolling along here. Team Ninja reportedly rebooting Ninja Gaiden, and Dead or Alive series. This comes from Lian Doolin at Nintendo Life. Team Ninja's Dead or Alive and Ninja Gaiden series are reportedly getting rebooted. During a company keynote at the South Korea G-Star conference, Team Ninja's president Fumihiko Yasuda mentioned plans to reboot both of the long-running series following the release of Wulong Fallen Dynasty in 2023 and Rise of Ronin in 2024. No information has been shared beyond this, but by the sounds of it, and honestly, by the sounds of that, it's probably going to take quite some time before they get around to those games, since Team Ninja is very busy. But I mean, Mike, I like Ninja Gaiden. I think Dead or Alive's fine. I think Dead or Alive probably actually has its place in the fighting game pantheon. I'm glad both of these things are coming back. What do you think?
Yeah, no, for sure. I actually played Ninja Gaiden, the Xbox like reboot one, all the way through Natuanga, because we have a game club on our Discord channel, Game S Jeff, and yeah, that's still a fun game. I think a modern take on that could be awesome. Character action games, those are still very much a popular thing. There's no reason why they can't make that exciting again. And Dead or Alive makes a lot of sense. Fighting games, as popular as ever. Dead or Alive 6 was in 2019. So right. Yeah, about time to do a new one.
Sorry, I just put a picture up of the.
Important.
It looks like a joint, maybe. Actually, I don't know. I guess I get
tired. Yeah, that looks like a stanky, nasty ass rolled up joint there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a wrestling show. What do you expect, Mike? Come on.
Oh, it's stanky.
Yeah. All right, there we go. Yeah, I mean, both of those series were never going to be away forever. I suppose maybe fighting games were a little bit less certain. Like companies like Capcom have, pared down to only having one, maybe two fighting game franchises going. And Dead or Alive was definitely from a time when we had way more than that from all these companies. But even with all that said, I still think Dead or Alive was always going to come back. Ninja Gaiden was definitely going to come back. There's always going to be a place for a character action game with good fighting mechanics, and for as long as Team Ninja is going to be out there, kicking around, working on stuff, whenever they had a chance to come back to think of what could we do next in between Wulong and Rise of Ronin, depending on how well those games do, Ninja Gaiden seems like a good place to go for them to go after those. Although, Do you think if, let's say, Rise of Ronin comes out, Wulong Fallen Dynasty comes out, and these are massive hits, which, at least one of them, like, it seems like one or the other, maybe both, could do exactly that. Do you think they maybe Ninja Gaiden gets pushed off instead?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's almost the one that seems less important because they're already doing a lot of other ninja-ish action games, right? I mean, I like Ninja Gaiden. I don't necessarily need it to be a Ninja Gaiden game. I don't need to play as Ryu
Hayabusa.
Hayabusa. That sounds about right. That's fine. I think Dead or Alive is honestly something I'd be more excited for, even though I'm not the biggest Dead or Alive fan. Although the Dead or Alive movie, wowie, wow.
So if the Dead or Alive movie ever ends up on Prime Video, everybody tell us immediately, and we'll make a Film at 40s about it.
I think it's the only fighting movie based off a fighting game where there's a scene where characters have health bars. So that's good.
That's very good. That wasn't UV Ball, right?
No. That was, I don't know who the hell did that.
Judd Apatow, actually. Weird. Yeah.
That'd be great.
All right. The UK sales software chart for the week ending November 20th is out, and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet were huge. They had the biggest box launch of the year in the UK, and that's according to the GfK tracking data firm. It turns out that these titles, mark the biggest box game launch of the year. Opening week sales were 4% higher than that of FIFA 23, which was the previous biggest. Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet had the second biggest launch for the series of all time in the UK. The only titles to have done better were Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon, which came out around the time the franchise saw reignited interest thanks to Pokemon Go.
Right.
Pokemon Scarlet and Violet did generate more money, though those Switch games cost more than 3DS releases did. And I mean, honestly, also, more people are buying games digitally too, right? So that was always going to be kind of the case. If you look at the chart itself, Pokemon Violet number 1, Pokemon Scarlet number 2, then FIFA 23, God of War Ragnarok, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and then the Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet dual pack were number 6. So making a lot of money there, Pokemon turns out, which, has got to make it more difficult to turn the screws on Game Freak, right? And say, hey, make this game look better when, they're just making more money than God. Are you at all surprised by this? Because I'm just not.
No, absolutely not. Of course not. It's at a certain point where, like, you expect every Pokemon to have, like, the highest launch. The anomaly here is Sun and Moon because there's that Pokemon Go wave right when the 3DS was also pretty late in its, cycle. So there were a ton of 3DSs out here. But yeah, of course, this is going to sell more than Sword and Shield, which I'm sure did ridiculous numbers. I mean, like some people would despair at this, like, oh, they never have to change anything. I still think there's going to be some pride involved or some kind of like finger wagging from Nintendo or something to try to make things right with the performance in terms of the patches. I don't think there's ever going to be a great fix for it, Jeff, but all things can be true that the game's performance isn't great and that needs to be fixed. But also, yeah, of course it's still going to sell well, but that doesn't necessarily mean like, well, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is why asking people to vote with their wallet another reason why that's so difficult. You would hope that maybe getting loud would help affect Game Freak and want them to change, regardless of how well these things sell. But at the end of the day, I'm sure they hear fan feedback, but man, those checks still cash and that money's still green, and so it's going to be hard to affect that kind of change.
Sometimes things can tip eventually, Jeff. You gotta be careful. I mean, we've seen Call of Duty have bad years sometimes, and that's the most. Oh, Call of Duty's always going to be a big deal thing ever. You can't be completely complacent.
Right, and you're right. And this is the kind of thing also that could hurt the next Pokemon game more than this one. Right now, they're going to stick to their schedule. It seems like there's been no indication that they won't. Maybe that will change after this. Maybe they'll say, hey, we will take 4 years for the next Pokemon game instead of 3, or the next generation. Right. But in between then, Game Freak's going to be working on all kinds of other Pokemon games, remasters.
I'm sure we'll get Black and White remake. We might get a Let's Go Johto, and some kind of Arceus sequel.
Sure. Right. So they're going to get right back to work. And they almost might be too busy to think about. They could be too busy to think about it until it's too late, and then maybe that stuff does build up and it does eventually affect one of these Pokemon games. But for now, Scarlet and Violet making a lot of money, and I guess the other hope here is that these games get updates and patches.
Hope so,
but also just don't have very high hopes for that either.
Yeah, I hope we get patches that can at least you know, if the game looks like shit with the Nintendo 64 textures and the weird like bugs, but like had like 30 frames per second steady, that would be something. Or like what are the other?
Yeah.
But having the terrible frame rate and just the abysmal graphics, like both of those together, that's pretty rough. There has to be some room for improvement. There's no way we're gonna be like, actually, this game looks good now,
Mm-hmm.
but there must be able to help it a bit.
That would be the hope. Here's a fun one: Nintendo NX boot screen and logo shown off for the first time outside of Nintendo. Let me actually bring this up. Take a look there. This comes from My Nintendo News. Before the Nintendo Switch was officially named and unveiled, the hybrid system was known as the Nintendo NX internally. The name and unveiling of the Nintendo NX console happened on 20th October 2016, where it was showcased in a snazzy video and named the Nintendo Switch. Fast forward to today, and a new Mario Kart 8 Deluxe prototype has found its way online, and it has unveiled the Nintendo NX startup and boot screen, which you can see on screen right now in a GIF, and it looks like it almost says Onyx because it looks like an O.
It looks like it says Onyx. That's distracting,
right? So it's a circle with a little dot that is like a dial, and it spins, and then NX. So
what is that circle? What is this circle dial thing supposed to symbolize?
I don't know. It looks like a rolling.
It doesn't even use discs. It's not a disc.
When I was a child, I saw a movie that had a giant rolling boob that was spraying milk everywhere. That's what it reminds me of, but that's just probably Freudian stuff.
Damn it, Grizzly beat me to this joke. I was going to say it represents Joy-Con drift. Damn.
Yeah. There you go. Yes, just a little wobbly.
Good job, Grizzly Tron.
Yeah, good job. I think it's pretty cool. I'll tell you what, Mike, I played a little bit of Atari 50, and I sat in on the quick look of that, which everyone should get accustomed to me talking about Atari 50, I think, for the next week or two, because I'm going to talk about it a lot. It's really good. God, Nintendo needs to get in on that. Nintendo needs to do that so bad. Make the equivalent sort of museum with all of, just let Mike Micah and his freaks go wild on Nintendo archives, please.
Oh, I love that stuff. Remember the Namco Museum games for PlayStation 1? Those were the fucking best. Those ruled so much.
And Atari 50 is the best example of that ever. It is the zenith of that concept brought to life. It's really, really good.
I do have to admit, I am a bit of a everything before NES doesn't really matter that much to me kind of guy. Outside of maybe arcade. So I don't have much affinity for Atari, but I still feels like something I would enjoy.
It would, because they talk to the people and they put everything in context in a way that is very useful for people who weren't playing games at the time and weren't alive at the time, right? Because I wasn't alive in the 70s when a lot of these stories came from, but
I thought you were old as shit.
I'm old as shit. Yes, Howard Scott Warshaw and Eugene Jarvis talk about who was doing, who was smoking and who was doing blow and all this stuff. It's like, oh, this is really, really fun. And also Eugene Jarvis, I did not realize was just the creator, one of the creators of Cruisin', and now still works at Raw Thrills and oversaw Cruisin' Blast and stuff. So I'm like, man.
Oh, so you love him.
I love Eugene Jarvis. Hell yeah. All right. Fall Guys Sunken Secrets is season 3, and it's been announced it's coming November 22nd. It's going to have SpongeBob, Skyrim, and Ultraman collaborations. I'll tell you what. Remember when Fall Guys came back free to play and everyone was playing it again? And I was looking at the skins, and there wasn't a lot of crossovers or partnerships or other IPs. It wasn't very Fortnite-y. Boy, that changed fast under Epic, huh? That's just
oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was happening a bit then, too. But yeah, I mean, of course, why not get all those character skins in there? That was a fun time, too, when everybody was playing Fall Guys again.
I've gone back to it. I did it for my my Extra Life, and I had fun with it. I'm I am at a point where
always fun.
I'm going to check back in on Fall Guys, I think, pretty regularly for the foreseeable future. And this stuff like this gives me a reason to. I would love to see what the Ultraman skins are going to look like. Even Skyrim and SpongeBob. Yeah, I'll do that. I think... Patrick Star is made to be a bean. I could totally see that. Yeah, that's real fun. November 22nd coming out soon.
Is the Skyrim guy gonna have an arrow through the knee?
Oh yeah, that'll definitely be a thing. And that's fun. I like that stuff. So
sure, why not?
Yeah, actually, I think I have a trailer here. Let's put that up while we're talking. But yeah, Fall Guys clearly seems like it's in one of those places where it has found its footing long term. I think there was questions about that early when it's oh yeah, everyone's playing it now, but what happens when it's not in the zeitgeist? And no one really has that answer. And then they're well, it's free to play now, and everyone's playing it again. But well, yeah, but if it's free to play, so it's easy to check out. But will it stick around? And I think they've found a way to keep people like churning in and out regularly over time. At least that's where I'm at. It's like whenever I bring it up like to my stream, hey, should we play Fall Guys? Most people are like, yeah, because they know they can just get it, download it pretty quickly, or just boot it up because they already had it on their system because it was free. So I think this is like showing like a long-term strategy for like these kinds of games.
I think that's absolutely right.
All right.
Man, yeah, I would like to play some Fall.
Yeah, it looks real good. All right, and then come back here. All right, finally, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Wave 3 release date has been announced. Let me, I think I have that right here as well. Let me actually stop this other one trailer real quick. There we go. December 7th, Wave 3 is coming. It's going to have, let's see, all these courses. This is the third wave for the Mario Kart DLC. I am pretty excited to always go back to these. I kind of forgot that they were even happening though. So it's like, I'm glad that we're at a place where, these trailers drop and remind me. I'm like, oh yeah, I can get in there. The Wii, they looks like they have some Wii courses and stuff like that. I don't know, where are you at with Mario Kart, Mike? I know that everyone was really hot on this stuff when they first announced the DLC. How have you felt about it so far? And like, are you ready to go back like I am?
I mean, yeah, I'm not the biggest Mario Kart guy, but when these things come out, I do enjoy opening it up and just checking them out once, just running through the cups. It's fun. This isn't the most exciting selection of tracks in the world for me. The Maple Treetops or whatever that is, that's a nice one. There's 3 Mario Kart Tour tracks in this, which is like, okay. Like the Peach Castle Gardens or whatever. I do remember that one. I can't remember if I like it, but I remember that level. I feel like I remember the last one had like some pretty big heavy hitters like Waluigi Pinball. I'm not seeing a Waluigi Pinball in this one.
Yeah, there's the 3DS Rainbow Road, GBA, Boo House. Yeah, and then Berlin Byways. I mean, I don't know. These tour courses sometimes can be fun, but they change too much, and I feel old and confused.
They feel different. Yeah, I like the whole city themes of them.
Yeah,
their layouts are kind of sketchy to me.
I don't know. Peach Gardens is. You're right. I do remember that, but
right. And I'm trying to remember because I know it's weird because it has kind of weird like paths and stuff. I can't remember if I liked it or not.
Right. Well, Merry Mountain was cute though. That's also from Tour. But yeah, I mean, regardless, as long as we get that beach level from the N64 game eventually, which I don't think we actually will, because the people have gone into the data to look and see like what is coming, and that has not been mentioned yet. But I don't know. I just love that shortcut in that level so much. It's like one of my favorite shortcuts in a video game ever. So I'm like, I'm still holding out hope. Wave 6.
Is that the one Jess nailed on the stream?
That was the Wario track where if you hit
Stadium.
Yeah, Wario Stadium, and you like turn while you're hitting the jump right at the right time, you could bounce over it. God, that was so awesome that you pulled that off.
It's incredible.
Yep, it was really good stuff. All right,
I can't wait for the 30 on 30 on it or whatever they call it.
Absolutely. All right, Mike. I figured we got a few extra minutes here before we get to the poll. Why don't we take a few questions? Let's see if this is going to work.
Do it.
Here we go. All right, so welcome to Grub Snacks within a Game Mess Mornings. If you have questions, go ahead and hit that Ask a Question button there on giantbomb.com/chat, or if you're on Twitch, you can just add us. I'm looking for them. We'll answer a few. You can even like pose a few questions for Mike himself. But
I like questions. Somebody asked me about the fucking Pokemon that looks like a motorcycle that the game give me that then just walks on his legs when I ride him, because that pisses me right off.
I truly do hate looking at that thing quite a lot, but I also think if I was going to get the game, I would probably get that one because I'm going to be hate playing it anyhow a little bit, I think. Fair so, Slay McGawson, why did I buy the new Pokemon game? What is wrong with me? Is there like an answer to that, Mike? Why do we do the things we do when we like we sit on the show, complain about things nonstop, and then find ourselves actually end up spending money on these games and actually buying them? I don't know. Did you get a code for Pokemon or did you buy it?
I got a code, so okay. Yeah, Nintendo paid for mine. I'm in Nintendo jail, but they still give me codes when the game comes out.
Right,
so
exactly.
Maybe I'll be out on good behavior soon.
Yeah. Let's see from. Adon Stands Alone. What are your guys' favorite foods to eat the day after Thanksgiving? I'm still very much in the after or in the leftovers at that point.
Yeah, the stuffing. The stuffing's good. I see things where people take leftover stuffing, and put it in a waffle maker to like heat it up.
Ooh, I'm gonna do that this year. That sounds so good.
And that looks like absolute heaven.
Yeah,
I don't even own a waffle iron. I might buy one just for my stuffing.
Let's see, from Robot VM, what are the plans for Game of the Year? We've been putting those together. They're pretty close to coming together. Things kind of got a bit wonky with the timing of everything, so we won't be able to do it in person, but we got a big plan for it. It's like everything else is going to be real fun. But we have plans to get together soon for things after that, so we're going to try to make up for not doing Game of the Year in person. But again, that was just a weird thing where the timing didn't work out well.
I get to pick the Game of the Year, right? I know I'm not part of this website. But
yeah, sure,
like
Mike. Yeah, we have a special box made out for you and everything, and you're going to sit in there and trust me, we'll be able to hear you when you talk. I promise.
All right, Power Slave Exhumed it is. Great.
Jeff, heard anything about Konami's plans with Metal Gear or Castlevania? Just that they do have plans, as much as I've heard. I don't have good lines on those things. But you know, the scuttlebutt I've heard is that yes, they do. They are making moves with both of those franchises. Let's see. How's the Metroid Prime remaster coming? Says Axel. Tell you what, I've been making sure that I know where my clippers are. That's how it's going.
It's not looking good for my beard or your hair. I'm not doing it till like December 30th or 31st though.
I might have to like just pull the trigger eventually because I'm like it's too much for me. Like I gotta just get it over with.
Jeff, you gotta hold off. Imagine how bad you're gonna feel when it gets shadow dropped on December 27th. Yeah, right. Or whatever.
Very likely.
It's weird. They didn't even say anything about that anniversary, huh?
Yep, 20th
Almost
anniversary.
Suspiciously so.
Yep, came and went without a single word. It was on a weekday.
It was the day that the Pokemon game came out, which I understand that's why you don't want to release your Metroid thing, but you think like there'd be a tweet. Was there a tweet?
No, there wasn't. I don't think so. Someone would have mentioned it to me if there was.
Just look
not looking great.
Why do you hate me, Nintendo? I wobble. Why?
Let's see. Let me hit the questions button right there so I can actually see these. What do you think Capcom will remake after the next after Resident Evil 4? This is like the big ongoing question. Yeah, Code Veronica, or do they start going to Resident Evil 5?
It's weird. At this point, it seems like they have something against Code Veronica. Like somebody in there doesn't consider it a core Resident Evil game, even if the rest of us do.
Yeah.
Like, or they're just really thrown off by it not having a number. So like I don't know. I think most people would be like that matters more than say Resident Evil 0 at least, right? So I don't know. I could see them maybe changing their mind going to Code Veronica. I could see them just going to 5. 5 is weird though. Again,
5's very weird.
Remaking 360 games is always kind of weird in general. Like Dead Space is doing it soon. I think they're gonna get away with it. But yeah, it seems strange. I don't know what they're gonna do.
If they go to 5, the problem is like, okay, well, we're doing 5 and 6. That's really weird, but we're doing them.
Wow.
And then suddenly they're at like what? They're gonna remake 7? That's not gonna happen. So,
at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, and even if they did 5, I'd still be like, are they really gonna remake Resident Evil 6?
Yeah. God. Yeah. They could, maybe those would be enticing to them because they'd be a lot less work because the visuals could be upgraded pretty easily, and then all you got to do is just edit everything else a little bit. But I don't know. Maybe that isn't how they want to do that because they would probably want to put it in a new engine and remake it from scratch and charge $60 for it.
I mean, there's definitely a part of me that hopes that every time this happens, and like people even ask them in the interview stuff like, "What about Code Veronica?" And they seem weirdly dismissive of it, but I mean, how can that not be a tantalizing option for them?
Yeah, and I see some people like maybe they'll stop after Resident Evil 4. It just makes them a lot of money.
Resident Evil 4 is going to maybe be the highest grossing Resident Evil game ever, right? They're going to want to find another one to remake, and Code Veronica is right there.
Right.
Now, maybe they'll say, well, let's just do 5. Like, look how much 5 sold back originally, and, it sold even more than Resident Evil 4 did. Imagine how that remake's going to do. They'll be wrong to think that.
They'll be very wrong.
That might be how they think.
People keep saying Dino Crisis 2, Dino Crisis as well. I'm like...
I think that's Fantasyland. I think that's completely Bob Iger's Fantasyland, Jeff.
I don't think it's quite Fantasyland, but I think it's probably very unlikely. The Dino Crisis games never sold that well. I don't know. Maybe they think that they can bring it back and be like, hey, this has the lineage of Resident Evil and all that stuff. So you bought those games, buy this one. But they will be.
I mean, they'll
make a lot more money if they keep making Resident Evil games.
I think Capcom is going to at some point reboot Dino Crisis. Maybe I don't think it's going to be like we're going to throw as much money at this in the same teams that we have doing the Resident Evil stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get to the poll. Let's do this. Let me bring it up here. We talked about this on Friday. Do you believe that a new Legacy of Kain is possible from Embracer? This came after Crystal Dynamics mentioned, hey, we did a survey, and 100,000 plus people filled it out. Now, most of those were TAM, but still, there was a big response there. And for our poll, 51.6% are beginning to believe. They say yes, 18.8% say no, 13.8% say I'm for what is this, and 15.9% say TAM sucks. So there you go. You got to consider that a win for you, Mike. TAM sucks.
Well, yes,
TAM versus Mitch.
Any TAM sucks means Mitch good.
Yeah,
right.
I think maybe that's how it works. Maybe, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think TAM just made a video about what he would want from a new Soul Reaver. I want to see that because I'm curious. Like, what do the Legacy of Kain fans want? Because there were sequels to Soul Reaver, and I don't know how well liked those are. Do people want them to try to continue that same plot line? Do they want a reboot? I wonder what
I have no idea.
Should be.
Yeah, I will have to watch that TAM video as well. I'll make it part of my my evening tonight. But yeah, I it still seems like this is likely. For Embracer, like if you're Embracer and you have one of these, like you've been putting out all kinds of stuff that were, mostly remasters at this point, but you've been trying to bring back a lot of franchises. If you have this kind of heat for any one of your franchises, there's no way they let it lie. They're going to do something with Legacy of Kain. It's just a matter of, does it get the budget it needs to become a new thing, or is it just remasters and then they forget about it and let it fizzle out? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, well, at least they did just one survey. Hopefully, if this was Atlas, there'd be 10 more to see if people really think they want to play Persona on Switch.
Hey, you say it. Persona eventually did come out on Switch. Those 10 surveys did the work. It eventually
happen. Yeah. Well, oh, shit, Jeff, we forgot to talk about The Rock beefing with IGN. We missed the top story.
I missed that. What happened? He beefed with IGN?
You didn't see this? Oh, The Rock's mad at IGN. It's incredible.
All right. We'll bring it up. Okay. I got to the polls. All right, emergency alert. Someone explain this to me. What happened here? The Rock is mad at IGN for what? For what possible reason?
IGN posted here. I'll send you.
It'd be funny if he just bought Pokemon based on the review.
It's in the chat
and got really mad at them.
Giant Bomb chat.
All right.
IGN just did one of those tweet pictures, like Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever's box office has already surpassed Black Adam's total, and then Dwayne The Rock Johnson responds with the crying laughing emoji. What a neutral post. I love competing, but IGN, you guys are in the biz with us. There's no competition with the established global brand of Black Panther compared to Black Adam and JSA. I don't know what JSA is, who a year ago no one even heard of. No need to knock us. We're new babies and have to grow. Blushing happy face emoji. Wow. Oh man.
There it is.
Yeah, IGN. I think The Rock.
Timur Hussein responds to that with, "Yeah, IGN, just enjoy your gaming and stay out of this."
Exactly. I think The Rock literally just cut a "you can't spell ignorant" without IGN promo.
Yes, he did.
Jesus Christ. The Rock. That charming underdog, The Rock.
Exactly. So just give him a chance. Everybody, come on, guys.
The Rock is usually very above the fray, so I was just shocked that the one person that The Rock ever went off on that I could see was IGN.
JSA, Justice Squad of America? That's fucking stupid.
What the hell's JSA? It's not Justice League, I guess.
No, Justice Society of America.
What the hell's the Justice Society?
For the Justice League. Because, listen.
That sounds like an alt-right group, Jeff.
Honestly, they all do. I was very clear to say I was sad about the Green Ranger dying and not the White Ranger dying, because the White Ranger sounds like a problematic thing too these days. But I am sad, everybody, by the way.
Yeah, please tell that. I don't want people getting mad.
Yes, no, please don't get mad at me. I'm legit devastated by that. Jason David Frank ruled. Yeah, but Black Adam, he is rearranging the hierarchy of power in the DC universe, so he needs to do that with the Justice Society of America, which is going to be we're going to get in a beef with the Justice League of America, and then Black Adam will fight Superman. And
do you think we're going to get more of The Rock at the Game Awards, please?
I mean, it went so well last time, right?
I mean, yes, I think it did.
Okay, here's my legit question. Does Jeff Keighley know that it's ironic that we are all like, quoting, enjoy your gaming, and that we're, you know, kind of going off on that? Or does he think like, yeah, that was good money spent on a cameo post from from, well, what's his name? From Dwayne Johnson from The Rock?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. Well,
I think he knows.
I guess we'll find out. I think he does too. I think he does too. But also, you know, the man's running a lot of stuff. He's very busy. Maybe he's like, listen, I got a big pop. Let's get him back here.
He has to change the place. He has to change the placement of that Jedi Survivor trailer. Now that you said it would be exactly 30 minutes in.
Hey, that wasn't me. That was all Tom. Don't blame me.
You're guilty by proxy, as always.
All right, let's. I don't think I actually posted the thing here. Let's do it. Actually, it might be right here. There we go. Okay. What is your hype level for announcements at the Game Awards? Let's see. I'm gonna go Game Mess Mornings. Should I do a scale? I'm gonna do a scale. Let's do a scale.
Let's do a scale. Do a big, sexy scale.
Let's see. Out of 4, I guess.
Out of 4.
Yeah, because they only let you have 4 things here.
Well, could you just use different emojis, like of different?
Sure,
like,
yeah, that's something.
Getting more and more.
39 years old. I know how to bring up emojis on my computer.
I don't know how to do that either. That is hard, huh?
Yeah, it's real hard. All right, let's go. Well, yes.
The ASCII emoji.
Actually, 4. Enjoy your gaming. 3. Let's see. What are some other Rock quotes we can put on here? Because I know it for 2.
3
babies
could be
and growing. 3 could be
what? For 2?
We're babies 2 were babies and growing.
We're babies. Wait, I'm confused. Which one's better?
4 is the top.
4's the top.
Yeah,
I don't know if I would pick up on that. 4 being the highest.
Yes, there we go.
4 being that.
Do you smell?
Yeah.
Your gaming. And then what's
Rudy Pooty? What would he say? Rudy Pooty Pie? That sounds like something that Rock would say.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. All right. When's the next time I'm doing a Game Mess Morning? In like a week. So we're taking some time off for the holidays. Well, you know what? Actually, we're doing one on Wednesday now that I think about it. So let's do 2 days. There we go. Game Mess Mornings will be live on Wednesday before the break. Let's hit that. All right, Mike, let's end this train wreck. Let's end this Monday show where we try to pretend we know what we're doing. Mike, you got anything happening that you want to tell people about?
Well, you can follow me on all the socials, including that Hive thing at Tolkoto now. TOLKOTO. So do that. I guess, you know, we got contingency plans in place these days, Jeff.
That's right. I'm already at like 2,500 followers on Hive, which happened pretty fast.
So humble brag. Whoa, very cool, Jeff. Wow.
Okay. So I say that first to brag because I'm very important and very special, but also to say that like people are picking up on Hive. So at least for now, who knows? Who cares? Honestly, if it doesn't work out, I'm just gonna keep doing my job anyhow. But it is nice to have contingency plans. So if you want to follow me on Hive, I'm just at Grub on there. I followed at Tokoto. And already it's kind of bad. It's worse because of it. So just be careful who you follow on Hive. This is a chance to start over.
Your experience could be worse too.
Yes.
Just follow me. I posted a picture of a Game Boy printer. I thought you'd like that.
I did like that. I liked it a lot, actually. It's very good. I think I even hit the like button on it.
Ooh, that like button's too small.
I try to hit it and it doesn't react a lot of the times on mobile. So it only has a mobile app right now. But yeah. All right. Enough Hive talk, enough Twitter talk. Thanks everybody for watching. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself and goodbye.
Bye.